Hello and welcome to Look North. On the programme tonight, a man who was given electric shocks in Bradford to try to change his sexuality tells us of his experience as a BBC investigation finds that hundreds of people were subjected to the treatment.
My teacher took me into this study. His exact words were, you've got a horrible disease, we don't have homosexuals in this school, you will be expelled immediately. Unless you agree, we can cure you.
We'll hear from one expert who believes there are many more cases yet to be uncovered. Also tonight, the Leeds charity that's had to stop running overnight breaks for disabled children because the council has stopped funding them. Move over Kevin Sidfield, we meet the Leeds doctor who's run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 different continents.
And who needs Hollywood when you've got Knaresborough? Welcome to the movie location capital of Yorkshire as we get ready to raise a glass for the release of Tinsel Town.
Well, this picture just about sums up the weather over the next few days. There will be some sunshine, but a lot of rain on the cards as we head into the weekend. Join me for the detailed forecast.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's programme. A BBC investigation has uncovered that at least 250 people were subjected to electric shock aversion therapy in NHS hospitals during the 1960s and 70s, aimed at changing their sexuality. One of them, Jeremy Gavins, was at school in Bradford when he was sent for treatment after confiding in a teacher. He said the shocks were so severe he lost consciousness. Well, he's been speaking to our reporter, Hayley Hassel.
In 1960s and 70s Britain, gay teenagers were sent to hospital, not for care, but for correction.
They fastened a strap around my left hand. It was an electric shock.
The NHS used electric shocks to try and change people's sexuality. In 1972, 17-year-old Jeremy was a pupil at St Bede's Catholic Grammar School in Bradford. It was here he first fell in love.
A young lad walked into the classroom and I went, I've never seen anybody so beautiful in all my life.
In 1967, homosexuality was partly decriminalised, but it was still far from accepted across large parts of society. When Jeremy confided in a teacher, that stigma became personal.
My teacher took me into this study. His exact words were, you've got a horrible disease, we don't have homosexuals in this school, you will be expelled immediately. Unless you agree, we can cure you.
This led to a referral to an NHS hospital and a process called aversion therapy.
A male nurse came to see me, said, come with me, and he said, take all your clothes off and put them in this locker. And I sat on this chair, and he fastened a strap around my left hand. And I got a pain in my arm here, and then I got an electric shock.
And can you describe the pain for me?
It's somebody sticking a jagged knife in the side of your arm and scraping it down.
Jeremy's experience wasn't unique. Over 250 LGBT people were treated with electric shock therapy by 1974 in England alone. Many of these procedures were conducted in NHS hospitals funded from public money. In official reports, doctors stated those involved underwent treatment entirely of their own accord, but survivors and some historians now question how freely that consent was given.
These Manchester registers, dating back to the 1960s, list the patients as volunteers. But looking closer, I can see that at least 18 of them have been referred for treatment from the court system. 4 of them have psychiatric illnesses, and at least 5 of them were children.
For many, the effects of those shocks didn't end in the treatment room. They have stayed with them for decades.
If I lie down on my back, I get shooting pains in my shoulders and my arms and my stomach.
In a statement, the government said conversion practices are abuse. Such acts have no place in society and must be stopped. The government is committed to bringing forward a full trans-inclusive ban on conversion practices. Jeremy sent a letter to his former school, the place that told him he'd be expelled if he didn't get his sexuality altered.
Jeremy received a written response from the Catholic Church Diocese of Leeds, acknowledging his suffering and offering a heartfelt apology. We understand the Department for Health and Social Care is now investigating the historic use of aversion therapy in the NHS. Hayley Hassel, BBC Look North.
And we thank Jeremy for sharing his story. Well, earlier I spoke to Professor Hel Spandler, a leading historian of psychiatry and LGBT plus health. I asked her whether she thought there could be more than 250 cases uncovered during our investigation.
I would be very surprised if they weren't a lot higher than that, actually. They were only the recorded cases that we could find, but it's actually really hard to find the actual figures, but I'm pretty sure it's likely to be at least double that, maybe even more. Probably a lot more, actually.
And can you talk us through the thinking behind the use of this treatment on gay and transgender people at the time?
They were seen as unnatural and undesirable and socially unacceptable, which led to the fact that you could then treat, if something is seen as being problematic and pathological, then you could conceivably treat it. So the idea of aversion therapy was a specific form of conversion therapy. So there were lots of other sorts of treatments around at the time, but aversion therapy was probably the most obviously brutal and sadistic, which basically was based on the idea of a reward and punishment kind of idea, that if you rewarded the behaviour that you wanted to encourage and punished the behaviour that you wanted to discourage, that somehow it would change people's gender and sexuality. And of course we know now that that just isn't possible, and it's not possible to change someone's kind of real sense of their sexuality or gender. It's a lot more deep rooted than that.
Yeah, it was a brutal treatment, and you've met survivors, including Jeremy, who was in that report, and the impact of this treatment can affect their whole lives, as we've seen.
Many people went on to live satisfying lives as gay, bisexual or trans people, but also it did really damage and had a long-term impact. And the 3 survivors on the programme are all from the north of England, and they have been really sort of campaigning in isolation for a long time. And it's only been in the last few years that people have started to come together and started to really think that it's about time that more people heard about this, and they got a serious apology for what they went through under NHS services.
What would you say needs to change?
What we need is more greater understanding to prevent these kind of awful experiences happening in the future and happening today. As I said, people who are autistic, people who are asexual, for example, people who are intersex, are still facing similar kinds of practices. So we need greater awareness of where that happens.
Professor Hel Spandler, thank you for your time. We'll have to leave it there.
Thank you very much.
And you can see more on this story on the BBC iPlayer. Just go to the iPlayer homepage and search for shock treatment. And if you or someone you know has been affected by the issues raised in tonight's report, you can contact the BBC Action Line via bbc.co.uk/action line for details of organisations which offer advice and support. Next tonight, a charity in Leeds say they can no longer offer residential breaks for children with disabilities after the City Council ended their funding. Airbus Supported Activities Services has held residential activity breaks for hundreds of children with disabilities, complex health conditions and special educational needs over the past 22 years. They fear some parents will now be left without access to respite breaks. Leeds City Council say they've reviewed how they provide and fund residential breaks, and they will be available elsewhere for families who are assessed as needing them. Abby Jayola reports.
Laurie has an autism diagnosis and severe intellectual disabilities. He has difficulty communicating and has sensory needs too.
Bouncing is one of the ways he will try and regulate himself, so when he's feeling dysregulated he can go out on the trampoline. He also really enjoys it. When you become a parent of a child like Laurie, you have to learn a lot about the disabilities and the way he experiences his disability. It's very difficult to access care outside of anybody that knows him.
He lives with his parents and older sister. Laurie experiences the world differently, so parenting him is different too.
It's very tiring, it's very mentally draining. You know, you just have to find it. Parents will tell you have to find it from somewhere, but sometimes it's very difficult to find.
These residential respite weekends are run by a charity, ASAS, Airbus Supported Activity Scheme. Laurie goes once a year, the only overnight break his family get. But the £60,000 funding the charity received from Leeds City Council has not been renewed for next year.
For the families, it means that they'll have no overnight respite in a year, well, at all, because many don't qualify for the local authority respite.
Leeds City Council are changing the way they provide and fund respite breaks for families. They told us in a statement they've introduced a new targeted short breaks model that prioritises weekend and school holiday sessions of at least 4 hours, delivered closer to home and tailored to individual needs. Residential short breaks will continue to be available for families assessed as requiring them via the Short Breaks panel and delivered through Rainbow House or Short Breaks foster carers. Laurie was climbing and cycling on his most recent break, which is probably the last one he'll get.
And the experiences that he get there, he can't really get many other places where they have the amount of staff and support and knowledge in place to support him. It also gives me and my wife and our daughter the chance to have a little bit of time, a little bit of break away. Although we must miss him dearly when he's away, it is quite an intense experience, as we said, and having that time just to have a bit of breathing space is really important.
This could be the last weekend ASAS are able to offer. They will still be funded by the council for holiday play schemes and activity days, but the charity say these overnight stays are crucial and need to continue. Abby Jayola, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Let's have a look at some of the day's other news now. And the family of a woman who died from rabies after contact with a puppy in Morocco has said they were unhappy with her treatment at Barnsley Hospital. Yvonne Ford was diagnosed at the hospital after returning to the UK. She died in June. Her relatives told a pre-inquest review they were concerned about the medical response to her struggling to speak, eat and drink. A spokesperson for the hospital said they were unable to comment at this stage of the proceedings. And on the BBC News app today, there are plans to replace Whitby's famous whalebone arch, which is deteriorating, but transporting a fresh set of bones from North America is among the challenges facing the County Council. A primary school in Leeds says it's trying hard not to have to cancel Christmas activities after seeing a record number of children off sick. And a protest about the use of bailiffs disrupted a council meeting in Bradford, leading to police being called. And you can get more details on those stories and everything else happening in our region by downloading the BBC News app. Next tonight, to the vulnerable children who travel on our railways. The charity Railway Children helps to safeguard young people who may be thinking about going missing or experiencing violence, abuse or exploitation. Today, they teamed up with train operators and police to ask passengers to help by reporting any concerns, as Tom Ingle reports.
If you see anything that just doesn't quite feel right, it might be nothing.
This isn't a ticket check, but it is an invitation to be part of a welfare check. The charity Railway Children has joined forces with LNER to make sure the most vulnerable passengers don't slip through Britain's railways unnoticed.
I think it's a really excellent initiative.
Reminds people to keep an eye out for those children.
The campaign is taking place right along the East Coast Main Line. The key ask, keep your eyes open.
Although our teams work with rail staff to train them thoroughly on safeguarding and spotting it, they haven't got eyes in the back of the head. So quite often it can be people who are just sat observing, people watching, might be able to spot something and just help change that child's life.
20-year-old Janet is an ambassador for the charity.
I think helping vulnerable young people, I feel like being in that moment can be the make or break in a young person's life. It only takes 1 second to change someone's life, and sometimes it's just that 1 second that really helps someone. Sometimes just saying hello, sometimes just checking in. And if we do those little things, if everyone does their part, we can make everyone feel a little bit better and a little bit safer on the rail.
In the last 12 months, LNER staff have helped to locate 120 missing people. and by referring them on have also helped 500 people access support services.
We're teaching our staff to know what to look out for and then how to give them the confidence to go and approach somebody they might be a little bit concerned about, they might be a little bit worried about when they see them, and ultimately it's just a case of taking them from that situation, getting them to talk a little bit and then passing that information on to the British Transport Police.
If you see something that doesn't look right, millions of us will travel by train this Christmas. For the charity and LNER, the most important thing is no one is left behind. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North.
OK, now let's take a look at what sport has in store. Sally is here with all the details.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, well, it's the second round of the FA Cup this weekend, with 3 of our teams hoping to make it through to the next stage when Championship and Premier League sides enter the fray. First up is Barnsley, who beat York City 3-2 in round 1. Tomorrow they'll travel to Peterborough, where the stats back the Tykes. They're unbeaten in their last 6 away games against the Posh.
We want to get through. We want to win. We want to win a game. We know that the big boys come in after this round. You know, we've got to take everything into effect really at the weekend. You know, whether it's trying to get through the round and through the tie, of course. We all want to win, but obviously with the thought process of the league games coming up that we know that are very important. So we'll be taking the Saturday's game very, very seriously.
And then 2 of our teams go head-to-head as League Two's Chesterfield have the home advantage against League One's Doncaster Rovers. Chesterfield, who saw off Stevenage in round 1, won both of their meetings with Doncaster in League Two last season. But newly promoted Rovers, who came through round 1 with victory over Crewe, did beat the Spyrites 5-1 in the EFL Trophy earlier this week.
Doncaster beat us. But we'd like to think we'll be a bit different coming Saturday night. We have to be, otherwise if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Saturday's game's obviously a completely different competition, a competition that I love dearly and I have done for many, many years, even when I was a little boy. So we'll hopefully go there and give a good account of ourselves, I should say.
And there is full live match commentary of those games and more on BBC Radio Sheffield. Here's commentator Adam Oxley.
We've got live commentary of 2 FA Cup second round ties this Saturday on BBC Radio Sheffield. First we'll follow Barnsley to Peterborough United at 3 in an all League One affair. Then from 7:30 it's a local derby as Chesterfield host Doncaster Rovers. The teams met earlier this week in the EFL Trophy, with Rovers coming out 5-1 winners, so the Spyrites will certainly be out for revenge at the SMH Group Stadium. You can listen to both games on BBC Radio Sheffield and also on BBC Sounds.
An update on Sheffield Wednesday now. Administrators have delayed naming a preferred bidder for the club. That decision had been due today, but the administrators, Begbie's trainer, said they'd received a number of strong, credible offers and it was no longer possible to narrow the field by that deadline. It said discussions were continuing to secure the right long-term owner for Wednesday. The club filed for administration in October, bringing to an end Dapon Chansiri's 10-year reign as owner. Now, rugby league legend Kevin Sinfield has completed day 5 of his 7-in-7 ultra marathon challenge in memory of his friend Rob Burrow, who died of motor neurone disease last year. After leaving Sheffield yesterday, Sinfield started this morning in Cumbria, running 42 kilometres from Workington to Whitehaven, where he was greeted by rugby league fans. Tomorrow he'll be in Scotland before returning to Yorkshire on Sunday for the final push from York to Headingley. This challenge has already raised more than £800,000 for MND charities. And I hear you've got another marathon challenge to tell us about, Amanda.
Oh, I tell you, yes, there is another superhero in our midst, Sally.
I don't know how they do it.
It's incredible. Yep, a doctor from Leeds has just completed 7 marathons in 7 consecutive days, but incredibly, he's done them in 7 different continents. Yuz Yusuf took part in the Great World Race, which is described as the most exciting new event on the international running calendar. He came into the studio earlier to tell us all about it, and I started by asking him why he should take on such a challenge.
There are 2 reasons why. Firstly is I want to push myself to test that if there is a limit. And secondly is I want to fundraise for the two charitable organizations of my choice. They are closest to my heart, Lupus UK and also Sjogren UK.
Tell me about the training, because I don't think there are enough days in the week to get up to your standard.
Yeah, so the training was really hard. This year I have been doing endurance training from various marathons and ultra marathons. So I was quite physically fit. But for this specifically for the Great World Race, also I did a 16-week solid training block. It was really hard to juggle between my work as a doctor, life, and also training. But you really got to put the work in, to be successful. Yeah.
And we have your glorious medals here. Which was the hardest one to achieve, do you think?
Yeah, so I think the proudest one and also the hardest one to achieve was Antarctica. I mean, no one, goes to Antarctica every day. So it's really once in a lifetime opportunity for me. But also during the race, we were throwing massive curveball. The weather was -30, wind chill. At times, I felt that I was not moving forward when I was running. But I kept digging in, and then, I did it for this, both two charitable organizations, and that really, helped me when I was in the deep end.
What got you through?
So yeah, it's all about the mental resilience and also the physical resilience, but also all the camaraderie, with other racers. So there were 54 of us. There was only really one elite runner, and everyone was ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things, and we all supported to each other, fist bumping, and some of us running with each other, trying to get into the finish line.
Well, I think extraordinary is definitely the phrase for you. Thank you so much for coming in today and showing those medals.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, what an amazing achievement. Now, a festive film that was shot entirely in Yorkshire has been released today, and no one is more excited than the residents of Knaresborough. The town has been given permission from Sky to screen Tinsel Town in local pubs, and Phil Bodmer's been given the job of the day to join them at the Grows Inn. Phil, how's the atmosphere where you are?
Yeah, the atmosphere is building, Amanda. This is a real tough assignment, one that I was reluctant to take on, but I'm glad to be here. The place is absolutely packed, and as you might imagine, the town is buzzing because this is a special night. 3 big screens in this pub. It's an absolute sellout. Another half dozen pubs in town also doing the same thing, so something of a money spinner for the local economy. Kelly Tegan is one of the organisers. Kelly, why did you decide to put this on?
So we organise a few events in the town, and we do the party in the castle. So I was asked to put a big screen up in the castle yard. At this time of year, obviously the weather's absolutely terrible. So we decided to put it on in the pub because we actually got some money from the York and North Yorkshire Mayor, David Scaife, who actually gave us some funding to be able to put on a
and you got all these
for
food
everyone.
boxes as well.
So a picnic for everyone, and we can screen it in 5 locations in Knaresborough, so the whole town can see this epic film all together.
Tell me about when the cast and crew were here, because I believe you had a bit of a soft spot for Danny Dyer.
Well, Danny Dyer turned up on the street right outside my salon, and we couldn't resist but to get a massive hug off him, and he was absolutely gorgeous. He smelt lovely.
Did that buzz? Is that buzz still here? And are people anticipating what's going to happen tonight?
Yeah, so we absolutely love the fact that they've all been on our street. I've even got a plaque up now saying Danny Dyer was here. So we are really, really embracing it.
All right, well, it's a real buzz tonight. Kelly, thank you for talking to us. Well, let's have a chat to the landlady here, the manager, I should say, Sarah Goodchild at the Grows Inn. This is extraordinary tonight. I mean, it's absolutely packed. It doesn't stop. What does it mean to the business?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, hospitality's had it tough this year, so to have things like this going on in the town is amazing. It brings customers in from not just Knaresborough, but everywhere. So we've got guests from York, hotel guests staying over as well because the film's on, so it is really, really good.
It's an absolute sellout, and you're not alone, are you? Because a number of the local businesses, pubs are doing exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, as pubs, we've all got behind it in the area. As we've got TVs, we're actually putting it on and showing it. We're giving out free boxes of food to people, so it's real community spirit as well.
And I understand you've had a sneak preview of the film itself.
I did. I watched it this morning because I'll get my TVs ready, so it was good. It was funny. I loved it.
I mean, you say that genuinely, or is it understated Yorkshireness that the film is good? Because the critics widely will probably be a bit more choosy, won't they?
I find it quite good because it's comical, so, you know, it's really, it's a funny film and it's good. It's a nice, festive film.
And a great sense of pride for the local community too.
Absolutely. I mean, while I was watching it, we was looking for local landmarks and things and saying, oh, that's so-and-so's cottage. Obviously, I'm not going to name them, but, you know, whose houses they are.
Good to talk to you, Sarah. Well, the screening starts tonight at 8 o'clock, and I think everybody here can't wait for that moment to come. I might just stay and partake. It would be rude not to, wouldn't it? Amanda, back to you.
Absolutely, Phil. Thank you very much. Do enjoy that pint. I'm thinking about that fragrant star now. Is it Danny Dyer?
Well, it's nice to know it smells okay. I don't know quite what she meant by that, but what a night in Knaresborough. I used to live there. It'd be fantastic, won't it?
Have you been in the Grove?
I've been in the Grove. The Blind Jacks was my local, so it'd be quite a night.
The other celeb. The other celeb.
The other one, yeah, Z-list. Let's have a look at a couple of pictures that you sent me this morning. That was sunrise in Scarborough. Absolutely fabulous shot there. And the next one was near Penistone. You know what they say, red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning, and it is absolutely chucking it down outside now. Some very heavy rain indeed, and there's a lot of that to come over the next few days. If you've got any pictures you want to send to me, the addresses were just on the screen then. Now, tomorrow looks unsettled, mild and breezy, showers or longer spells of rain, but there will be some drier and brighter slots in between those showers. Let me show you what's happening. There's the weather front bringing the rain at the moment. Low pressure anchored to the west of us for Saturday. Another weather front bringing more rain on Sunday. And then we might just get away with Monday being fine and bright because there's yet another weather system. Now, this could develop further and bring some gale force winds and heavy rain. We might be looking at some localised flooding by the time we get to the early part of next week. Right, there's the weather front. It's brought some heavy rain into Leeds in the last hour and other parts of West Yorkshire. It continues to march north-eastwards. So wherever you are this evening, it is going to be wet and windy. The rain clearing to heavy showers overnight. At least it's going to be frost-free, though, with that southwesterly wind. We're looking at lowest temperatures down to around 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. So tomorrow's high water times, Scarborough 4:30, Bridlington at 4:49. So breezy. The only positive is it's going to be very mild tomorrow, much milder than it has been, but there'll be showers, even some longer spells of rain. But you can also see from the graphics, big gaps between some of these showers, so it's not going to rain all day long. There will be drier and brighter spells and temperatures much better, 11, possibly 12 degrees Celsius with that moderate southwest wind. Sunday then, we should get off to a dry, possibly a bright start, but again through the day, the second of the weather fronts bringing more rain up from the southwest. We'll see top temperatures around 11 or 12, and then perhaps fine for a time on Monday before heavy rain returns Monday night into Tuesday morning. That's the forecast.
Gosh, it has been pretty relentless, hasn't it?
It has.
Oh dear. Thank you very much, Knaresborough's Paul Hudson. That's it from us. Do have a lovely weekend, whatever you have planned. We'll be back with the late news and weather, usual time. Goodbye.